with a folk tale about a cap seller. If some of you think that you have heard this story before, just wait. There is something more. Okay? Alright. Shall we begin? Once upon a time, there was a village called Rampur. In this village lived a young man called Dinesh. Dinesh had a beautiful wife called Rani. Rani was an expert in stitching beautiful caps. Yes, caps, a cap that you wear on your head. And Dinesh used to sell these caps in the village. So Dinesh was a cap seller. He used to go to the market and sit with his caps, and people used to come and buy. He realized that many people were not coming to his shop to buy the caps. So one day his wife Rani suggested to Dinesh that instead of just sitting in the market, Dinesh should perhaps go from one house to another in the village to sell the caps. That way he will be coming in contact with so many people. So Dinesh thought that is a good idea, and so he took all the caps, put them in a basket and put the basket on his head and started to meet the people in their houses. So he walked on, went from one house to the other, trying to sell his caps. And when people saw that the caps were coming at their doorstep, many people decided to buy. And in this manner, he managed to sell many more caps that he would usually do by just sitting in the market. And this way, both Rani and Dinesh were happy because they could sell plenty of caps. Rani would every day make beautiful caps and Dinesh would go from one house to the other selling them. But you see, it was a small village, and so very soon he had finished selling the caps to everybody in the village. So now nobody else was willing to buy any more caps. They all had already bought. So Rani then suggested that Dinesh should perhaps move on to the next town, which was close to the village, but there was a forest on the way to the town. So Rani suggested that Dinesh should go to the town to sell the caps. Now Dinesh was quite excited to do that. He said, well, a town is much bigger compared to a village, and so there'll be so many more people to sell the caps to. Yes, we'll get more business, but then I have to cross the forest. There will be wild animals in the forest. And Rani said, oh, come on, Dinesh, don't be scared. We have been to that forest before. It's not such a big forest. There aren't too many wild animals there. You just need to be careful, that's all. Oh, come on, you can do it. I'm ready to stitch so many caps for you. Why can't you just go and sell them? And so Dinesh said, all right, I will do that. I'm not scared. So the next day, Rani had stitched plenty of caps, and Dinesh put those caps in his basket, and Rani packed some food for Dinesh to eat on the way. So Dinesh took that food in a box and put that also in the basket, put the basket on his head, and he set out. He reached the forest, and as he was walking along, he had almost covered half the distance of the forest. And then he felt a little tired, and he felt a little hungry too. You see, when you have food with you, you feel hungry. So he thought, all right, let me just sit and eat some food. So he saw there were so many trees in the forest. He spotted one tree which looked quite huge, and he went under that tree and sat down. kept his basket down and he sat down. He took out his lunch box and he started eating. The food was so tasty that he finished the whole thing. And then, because he had eaten too much, he felt a little heavy and sleepy too. Then he thought, it's okay, I'll just take a little nap. And very soon, before he knew it, he was fast asleep. And then, after a while, suddenly he woke up with a start because he heard some some kind of sound. And then he said, where am I? Where am I? That's, oh yeah, I'm in the forest. Yeah, I was on my way to the town. Oh yes, I have to sell my caps. My caps! He looked at the basket and there were no caps in the basket. He said, what? What happened to my caps? Well, he had one cap left because he was wearing one. And the basket was empty. Not a single cap in the basket. He said, where did all my caps go? This is a forest. Could there be thieves in the forest? Huh? But what do I do now? If I go back home empty-handed, my wife Rani is going to be very angry with me. Ooh, what do I do now? Oh God. When he looked up, he saw that on the tree were so many monkeys and every monkey had a cap on his head. Yes, they were all his caps from the basket. When he was asleep, the monkeys had come down and they had taken one cap each and put on their head because they saw that this man, Dinesh, was wearing a cap on his head. So they all took, because they came down seeing such something colorful in the basket. So they all came down to investigate what is in the basket, and they picked up, what is this? What to do with it? And they saw Dinesh sleeping but with a cap on his head. So they all said, oh, so this is to be worn on the head. And so they all wore the cap and climbed up the tree, and they were all so happy looking at each other wearing such colorful caps. They were the ones making the noise. And then Dinesh said, okay, so these monkeys are the ones who have stolen my caps. Alright, so how do I get these caps back? He said, hey monkeys, please give me my caps back. And the monkeys looked at him and said, hey, ooh. And Dinesh said, I'm asking you to give my caps back. And the monkeys also did. Huh? So Dinesh was wondering, oh, so these monkeys are trying to do what I am doing. So they are just copying me. They are imitating whatever I am doing. This gave him an idea. Okay, let me try. He touched his cap and took it off from his head. And all the monkeys did the same thing. They all took off their caps. Then he waved his cap like this. And all the monkeys also waved their respective caps like this. And then Dinesh threw his cap down. And as soon as he did that, all the monkeys threw their caps down. So all the caps were down on the floor. Quickly, Dinesh collected all the caps, put them in his basket, and he said bye to all the monkeys. And all the monkeys just saw all that, and then they all said bye. And Dinesh put the basket on his head and quickly crossed the forest, reached the town. Okay, so he went to the town. He thanked God and managed to sell all his caps in the town. And then he came back home through the forest. He was very careful not to take rest under the tree. Okay, he came back home and then he told his wife Rani all that had happened that day. Okay, and Rani was quite amused to know that the monkeys were copying him like that, and she was so proud of her husband because he was so intelligent. He had managed to get the caps back from the monkeys by using his intelligence. She was so proud of her husband. Okay. Years. Now, the normal story ends here, but our story does not end here. Okay. Years passed and Dinesh and Rani had a son. This son grew up to be a young man. What was his name? Okay, their son's name was Hari. Now, Hari was also a cap seller. So, and he had heard the story from his father. Okay, the whole village knew about it. Okay, everybody knew about it. And so, Hari also knew about it. Now, he wanted to test whether the monkeys would again behave the same way. And so, he took the caps in the basket as his father had done, and he went to the forest, located that tree, went under the tree, sat down, put the basket down, and he pretended to sleep. He was just pretending to sleep. And yes, monkeys came down from the tree, took the caps, put them on their heads and went up the tree. And after a while, Hari opened his eyes to check, oh, all the caps gone from my basket. Oh yeah. And then he pretended as if he was shocked. He said, oh, my caps all gone. And then he looked up and saw all the monkeys were indeed wearing all the caps. He said, okay, everything going as per plan. And then he said, oh, monkeys, give my caps back. And all the monkeys did, oh, and then he took off the cap from his head and he waved the cap. And the monkeys did the same thing. They all took off their caps and waved with their caps. And then Hari threw the cap down, and all the monkeys also threw their caps down. But then what happened? This is not Dinesh. Who is this? Hari. Now, as Hari tried to collect the caps, as soon as he had collected, he had just picked up his cap, and then he saw there were no more caps. You know what had happened? As soon as he threw the cap and started picking up his cap, what did the monkeys do? They all came down and picked up their respective caps and went up again. Yes. So this time the monkeys just looked at him and did tick, 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 tick. It looked as if they were saying, okay, so you heard the story from your dad. So we heard the stories from our dads. Oh yes, you cannot fool us. Ha ha ha. Cook. So now Hari said, okay, I see. But Hari was no fool, okay? Now he had some peanuts in his pocket. So he took out peanuts. He knew that monkeys like peanuts. So he took out the peanuts and showed the peanuts, okay? And then he took off his cap like this, waved, and threw the cap into the basket. Alright, so as soon as he did that, all the monkeys also took off their caps, waved, and they all tried to throw it into the basket. Most of them fell in the basket, some fell here and there. And at the same time, you know what Hari did? He threw the peanuts a little away. And all the monkeys then immediately rushed to pick up those peanuts. And immediately Hari picked up some of the caps which had fallen outside the basket, because most of them had actually fallen into the basket. Those caps which were outside the basket, he quickly picked them up, put them in his basket, and then off he went home. Okay? So These monkeys went after the peanuts and picked up the peanuts and came back, and there was no Hari or basket or the caps to be seen. Alright, so Hari managed to get back all his caps and he went home. Okay, the end. What have we learned from the story? Now, from the first part of the story, well, the moral is as always, that is, you can use your intelligence to solve any problem. Okay, so that is the first part. The second part of the story where Hari lost the caps to the monkeys, managed to make the monkeys throw the caps down, but then he lost them again because the monkeys had taken the caps back. Now, what do we learn from that? That don't think that the animals are stupid. Okay? And they are smart enough to learn from mistakes. Okay? So they have learned from the mistakes of their fathers. Alright? That if you just let it down, let the cap fall down, the man is going to pick it up and walk off. So when he picks up his cap, you pick up yours. So that's what they learned. So they were smart enough to learn that, which means all of us should learn not just from our mistakes but from others' mistakes as well. Alright. Okay. And from the third part, what was the third part where Hari managed to throw some peanuts? And well, he made the monkeys throw most of the caps into the basket, and he threw some peanuts for them to go and pick up those peanuts so that he distracted them. Right? So what do we learn from here? That man is still smarter than the animal. Oh yeah? Oh yeah. So even if the person opposite you is smart, you can still be smarter and manage to outwit that person using your intelligence. Right? Okay. Please remember to like, share and subscribe. I shall be back soon with yet another interesting story. Till then, this is Madhavi Aunty saying bye.